What you're looking at is one of my Buck Sirus everyday carry knives. I kind of term this as a collectible knife, and I'll tell you why as I go on with the review. But the first thing that strikes me about the Buck Sirus series is they're very good looking. They're hot looking. This one is the orange, yellow, red flame pattern. You can kind of see the matte etching in the aluminum scales on the side, which even adds more to the looks of the knife. Highly polished pocket clip. The flats that are exposed when the blade's closed are also polished, kind of stone washed, and it makes for a really pleasing knife that's just really good looking. Let's talk about the specifics of the Buck Sirus, and you might be surprised I own 4 of them because I do have a lot of criticisms on the knife. So first off, let's talk about that blade. The blade is made out of 420 HC steel. I know a lot of people that absolutely hate 420 steel. I wouldn't say I hate it. However, that being said, I'd prefer a better steel, ATS 34, 154 CM, you name it. There's a lot better steels than this. Now that being said, Buck uses a high carbon content in their steel supposedly, and it has a really good heat treating, which is also vital for the edge holding capabilities of a steel. So that being said, how does it wear? Well, I have carried the Buck Sirus as an EDC knife before, and I haven't used it a ton. I have used it in moderate uses, and I found that it was adequate. It wasn't like lacking. It didn't lose its edge instantly. It did pretty darn good, in fact, for this level of steel. So I think for EDC purposes, 420 HC is adequate. You can do it. Now let's talk about the blade shape. I like it. It's that modified drop point design that Buck has the flats on the side, which I think is very aesthetic. It makes the blade look really cool, and it also gives it more strength supposedly. Kind of a hollow grind on the blade, it looks like, which I don't mind at all. Another critique I'll have on the blade though, and this is with almost all the Buck knives that I see, is they have very pronounced vertical grind lines on all the blades. It's not a huge deal. I would like to see a better polishing process. If you look at the Benchmade Griptilian, it also has those vertical grind lines, at least the ones in 2008 do. And you can actually, when you wipe your blade, like if I was to wipe it with this blue cloth, it would grab lint, just because those vertical striations, so to speak, will actually grab that cloth off. Not a huge deal again, it's just a minor critique. I would like to see a better polish on the blade overall for these Bucks. Also, it's got the top, this is chiseled, this upper spine right here, and of course we're not going to sharpen that because that's where our finger goes to close it. But it's good looking, and I guess that would lend this knife to be a better penetrator in a stabbing action, you know, for whatever task you got going on. But it's a good looking blade as it's set forth. How's the deployment and the lockup on the Buck Sirus? Well, I find that it's somewhat leisurely in its deployment. This is an assisted opening knife, and you do deploy it just like many of them with the extended tang on the back side of the handle. I think Buck Sirus are kind of leisurely. I would like to see them snap out with better authority. I'd like to see them upgrade their springs so they came out harder. Again, my reference for this might be a SOG Flash or a Kershaw Blur, and they come out with a lot more authority than this knife does. That being said though, it is adequate. It comes out fast enough. I did have to mess around with this pivot screw, and it's just a one-sided pivot screw. It screws into this side. I took it apart, degreased it, and then messed with my tension using a mini Torx driver that fit that. And then I found that pivot tension is very critical to how this deploys. And once you get it right, it deploys with adequate speed. Definitely not lightning speed. So lockup is tight though. There's no movement at all, side to side, up and down. Really good job on that. Bucks do a nice job. There's the Buck logo on the side. Again, those flats are kind of stone washed. I like them. They're good looking. Nothing on that side. The edge as it comes from Buck is not that sharp. I've had this one sharpened. Then I also put it on a steel, and once you do that, it's quite sharp. This one is razor sharp. Shave with it, do whatever you want else with it. And this is relatively thick paper I'm cutting here too. Here I tear it. Perfect. anyways, you get the idea on that. 420HC will take a very sharp edge if you do it right, and it will hold it medium well, I would say. Let's talk about the handle. First off, again, the aesthetics of the handle are gorgeous. Very nice. I'll show you my other colorations that I have, but that is my main like of the Buck Sirus, is just their looks. They're just a handsome, good looking knife, and I just love it. Now, that being said, looks don't provide utility every time. And if you look at this knife, it's very slick on the side, as are my other versions. They don't provide a lot of traction. So if you want looks, you got looks, but if you want traction, you're going to probably lose your looks. I think that's kind of the design compromises that are going on here. The handles are somewhat sharp on the side, so as I hold it, they're not radiused very well. They are aluminum, probably T6 series aluminum on stainless steel liners, and the liners themselves have a running slit in them. I'm not sure if that's to lighten it or whatnot, but I would have liked to seen Buck do a lot better job lightening this knife. It's about 3.9 ounces, which in my opinion is heavy for a EDC knife. I want to be around 2 ounces or less for my EDC blade. Now the blade itself is 3 1/4 inches long. Not too bad. A little bit on the long side for my EDC purposes, but that's just me and my personal preferences. Your mileage, again, may vary. So the handle overall, very good looking, sharp edges on the side. Would like to see it lighter. It is put on with Torx screws, so you can take it off if you need to. I may in the future attempt a lightening job on these Buck Sirus, see if I can take off maybe 0.3, if I'm lucky 0.4 of an ounce, to make them a little bit more carryable. Let's go to the clip. It is a good looking clip. It's polished, which lends itself well to the background of the knife handle, the coloration. It's a handsome clip. It is mounted low. Sound familiar? Just like almost every knife I review. You know, I would much rather have it mounted SOG-like fashion here, so this would carry even lower in the pocket. But that being said, it's a very tough clip, good looking, hardened stainless steel, put on there with 3 clips or 3 Torx screws, so adequate. Again, I said the lockup was tight. When I undo the lock, it is a little bit uncomfortable, and I would say just minor, in a minor way, when I push this to the side with my thumb. And that's in comparison to maybe some Kershaw designs, some camless designs that are much more comfortable when I push that liner lock to the side. That's probably because that is a very hard stainless steel they use for the liner, but that being said, it's also very thin, and so when you put the fat of your thumb against that, it's not super comfortable, but the amount you'll be doing it, it's fine. The balance and overall feel of the knife is good. Again, it is slick on the side, but overall it's not too bad. Now, another bad feature, sorry to say bad, but it's a stupid cam lock that Buck puts on here. My earlier knives, you can see how loose it is, and that's designed to prevent the knife opening in your pocket, and supposedly you apply the cam lock. I have found that that will apply on its own. How you doing? So in your pocket, you pull out to use your knife, your cam lock, because it's so easily put on, at least in these earlier versions, you know, you can't deploy your knife. Now, let's go to some other versions. This is my black Buck Sirus, and what I did is I actually took this apart, which was quite the chore actually, and I took out that cam lock altogether. So I'm in an experimentation stage with this knife to see how it works without the cam lock. I'll carry it a little bit. I suppose I won't lose any functionality or safety by going with the knife without the cam lock. This is a good looking blade too. This is the black finish 420HC steel. They do make the knife in ATS 34, which is even more expensive, but good looking blade, and these are some grooved handles there. Here's the blue flame version of it, also a very handsome knife. Blue fading to a burgundy flame pattern are actually just some design features there. Just a good looking knife. That's what mainly attracts me to this. This is the Boss Trio version, skull version, the one my son always carries. This is a nice knife. I love the looks of it. That skull pattern is wicked. So, in summary, the Buck Sirus knife is a good, not excellent, everyday carry knife. It can be made better by the features I talked about. However, that being said, what mainly attracts me to the Buck Sirus are the looks. It's just a handsome, cool knife offered in a variety of colorations that makes for a very collectible and wickedly cool knife. Decent steel, good construction, so for the price, put it in your collection. Thanks for watching.